The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council stretched across 3 kilometers of polished obsidian floor, its crystalline dome revealing the swirling nebula beyond. Representatives from 47 species occupied their designated platforms, their forms ranging from the gaseous Veltran clouds to the silicon-based chromath giants. At the center stood Ambassador Chen Wei, representing a species the Council barely acknowledged: humanity. "The chair recognizes the delegate from Earth," announced Supreme Arbiter Zelthon, its tentacles rippling with barely concealed disdain. The translation matrix carried the undertone clearly. This was a formality, nothing more. Chen stepped forward, her modest gray suit a stark contrast to the bioluminescent robes and quantum-shifted armor surrounding her. She carried no weapons, no impressive technology, just a data slate and the weight of 8 billion souls on her shoulders. "Honored Council," she began, her voice steady despite the mounting pressure. "Earth requests immediate assistance. The Krell Armada approaches our system. Our defensive capabilities are limited. We ask for sanctuary, status, and military support under the Preservation Protocol." A rippling sound echoed through the chamber, the galactic equivalent of laughter. The Draconite ambassador, its scales shimmering like oil on water, spoke first. "Your species has been spacefaring for what? Barely 2 centuries? You've achieved faster than light travel only through borrowed technology. What makes you think you deserve Council protection?" The Velthron representative pulsed with amber amusement. "The Krell conquer systems every standard cycle. Your planet possesses nothing of strategic value. No rare minerals, no unique technology, no tactical position. Why should we expend resources on the inevitable?" Chen's jaw tightened, but she pressed on. "Because the Preservation Protocol states that all sentient? The chromath delegate's voice rumbled like grinding continental plates. "You're barely evolved primates. Your planet is still recovering from self-inflicted climate catastrophes. You wage wars over lines on maps and differences in belief systems. You've nearly destroyed yourselves with your own weapons 3 times in the last century alone. Your lifespans are laughably short," added the Ethereal Collective's spokesperson, its form flickering between dimensions. "You haven't even achieved post-biological transcendence. Why preserve a species that clearly hasn't earned its place among the stars?" The Supreme Arbiter raised a primary tentacle. "The Council has heard your petition, Ambassador Chen. Our decision is unanimous. Earth's request for intervention is denied. You may use the remaining time to evacuate whatever you deem most valuable. This session is—" "No." The single syllable cut through the chamber like a blade. Chen hadn't raised her voice, but something in her tone made every translator pause, ensuring perfect clarity. "I'm sorry?" Zelthon's eye stalk swiveled toward her. "I said no," Chen repeated, stepping forward again. "You want to know what makes humanity worth saving? I'll tell you. It's not our technology. It's not our resources. It's what we do when told that we can't do something." She activated her data slate and holographic images flooded the chamber. "You see a species that nearly destroyed itself. I see a species that stepped back from the brink. Multiple times. You see short lifespans. I see people who accomplish in 70 years what some of your species take centuries to consider. You see primitive violence. I see a species that created the concept of war crimes, then spent generations trying to prevent them." The images shifted, showing human history in rapid succession. Cave paintings and cathedrals, the Wright brothers and the Apollo missions, antibiotics and quantum computers, wars and peace treaties, disasters and rescue efforts. "We're not the strongest species," Chen continued, her voice growing stronger. "We're not the smartest. We're definitely not the oldest. But we're the species that looked at the impossible and said, 'Watch this.' We split the atom. We eradicated diseases that plagued us for millennia. We turned deserts into gardens and built cities in the sky." "Impressive propaganda," the Draconite hissed, "but irrelevant against the Krell. Is it?" Chen smiled, and it wasn't a pleasant expression. "You asked why you should help us. Here's a better question. What happens when you don't?" She pulled up a new file. "The Krell Armada will reach Earth in 48 hours. Our military strategists have run every simulation. We can't win a conventional battle, so we won't fight one." The chamber fell silent. Humanity has a saying: if you can't beat them, surprise them. We've spent the last 72 hours converting every faster-than-light capable vessel in our system into kinetic projectiles. Cargo haulers, scientific vessels, even our own evacuation ships. We've loaded them with every nuclear warhead we have left from our primitive arsenals. Zelthon's skin pigmentation shifted to alarm. You would sacrifice your entire fleet? Our entire fleet is piloted by artificial intelligence, Chen corrected. We learned from our mistakes. We built machines to fight our wars. But here's the thing about humanity. We're really good at learning from our mistakes. The hologram showed Earth's orbital space, now crowded with hundreds of modified vessels, each trajectory calculated with precision. The Krell use quantum-shielded vessels. Impressive. They can deflect energy weapons, absorb plasma fire, even null gravitational attacks. But kinetic projectiles at 0.99 light speed? Those shields weren't designed for that. Neither were their ships designed to dodge hundreds of missiles traveling at near-light velocities from multiple vectors simultaneously. You'll destroy your own infrastructure, the ethereal warned. We'll rebuild, Chen said simply. That's what humans do. We've rebuilt from worse. The Black Plague, World Wars, the climate collapse. We rebuilt every single time. She closed the data slate. But here's what you should really be concerned about. The Krell will lose ships, maybe a few, maybe their entire forward fleet. Either way, they'll learn that Earth isn't worth the cost, but they'll also learn something else. Chen looked around the chamber, meeting the gaze of every delegate. They'll learn that there's a species in this galaxy that would rather burn than break. A species that turns its own evacuation fleet into weapons. A species that looks at impossible odds and gets creative. And when they learn that, when every other aggressive species in the galaxy learns that, they'll start wondering what else humanity might do if pushed. The silence stretched. Finally, the Supreme Arbiter spoke, its voice carefully neutral. What is your point, Ambassador? My point, Chen said quietly, is that you're right. We're not worth saving for our resources or our technology, but maybe, just maybe we're worth saving because we're the kind of crazy that this galaxy needs. Because when the next threat comes, and there's always a next threat, you'll want humans on your side. We're the species that doesn't know when to quit. We're the species that weaponizes hope. She turned to leave, then paused. The Krell Armada arrives in 46 hours now. We'll handle it ourselves. But when this is over and you're analyzing the wreckage, remember this. Humanity didn't ask for your permission to survive. We never do. As Chen's platform descended toward the exit, a rumble echoed through the chamber. The Chromath delegate had activated its voting crystal. Then another. And another. Ambassador Chen. Supreme Arbiter Zelthon's voice carried a new tone, something that might have been respect. The Council would like to reconsider its decision. Perhaps a joint defensive operation would be appropriate. Chen looked back, her expression unreadable. Why the change of heart? Zelthon's tentacles rippled in what might have been a shrug. Because, Ambassador, you've just reminded us why humanity earned its seat at this table in the first place. Not because you're strong or wise or advanced, but because you're absolutely terrifying when you need to be. And, added the Draconite quietly, because we'd very much prefer to have that terrifying creativity aimed alongside us rather than potentially against us someday. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Then let's show the Krell what happens when you underestimate humanity. The Galactic Council had made many mistakes in its long history. Ridiculing Earth's Plea would not be added to that list. Because they had learned what every bully eventually learns, the most dangerous opponent isn't the strongest or the smartest. It's the one who refuses to stay down, who turns every disadvantage into a weapon, who looks at impossible odds and says, "Challenge accepted." They had laughed at humanity's weakness. Now they would witness humanity's strength, the strength of a species that had climbed out of caves and reached for the stars, that had survived ice ages and asteroids, that had looked at the void and decided it needed exploring. The Krell were about to learn what the Council was just beginning to understand. Humanity didn't ask for respect. They earned it, one impossible victory at a time. And in the cold mathematics of galactic politics, that made all the difference.